Do you struggle with calf complaints? And by calf complaints, it can be muscle tears, it can be calf tightness, it can be Achilles tendinopathies, or you may never have had it formally diagnosed from a health professional. If you do, and you're an office worker, there's every chance that something that you're doing whilst you're sitting at the desk may be the cause of your calf complaints. Now, the calf complaint that you're experiencing may not occur inside of the office. You might notice it when you go for a run, you might notice it when you do a deadlift, you might notice it when you increase the intensity of your training. Calf complaints that occur outside of the office can absolutely be caused by something that you're doing inside of the office. At ERGO Collective, we believe that most people's body complaints come from their poor, static postures. And where do you do most of those? At work, of course. It's really important to consider the ergonomic, the behavioural, and the postural things that you do every single work day that can contribute to the health of that lower leg. So let's talk a little bit more about the anatomy and how your calf and lower leg is designed to work and the ramifications of these poor contributing elements. Let's talk about the anatomy of your calf and how it's designed to work and what sort of problems that you run into from an anatomical perspective in terms of having chronic calf complaints, either inside of the office or most likely outside of the office. What you've got to understand about your calf muscle is that it is a sprint muscle. It is strong, it is powerful, it consumes huge amounts of energy, and it's not designed to be used for prolonged periods of time. So your calf muscle, being a sprint muscle, should be on, off, on, off, on, off. And that's essentially its role in terms of your lower legs. When we run into calf problems, what it usually is a result of is over-recruitment of this muscle. And generally it comes from poor leg positioning whilst you're sitting at your desk over the 40 hours of a work week. What you've got to understand is when you sit at your desk, what should happen is you should have 90 degrees flexion through your hips, your knees, and your ankles. And the weight of your legs should shear down from your knee joint straight down into that heel. Your heel is a really strong, stable bone, and that's designed to take the weight of your legs, whether you're standing or whether you're sitting. And so when you sit at your desk, this is the area that's designed to take the weight of your legs. Now, when you're in that position, what you'll notice is that your calf is in a really passive place. There's no tension, there's no strain, there's nothing going on through that calf muscle because it's in a really neutral position. And this is great. This is where it's supposed to sit all day. Where you run into trouble with recurrent calf strains, calf tightness, Achilles tendinopathies, is when we end up sitting up on our toes or tucking our feet underneath. And so there's a number of problems in terms of these positionings. Every time you sit up on your toes, to maintain that position, your calf contracts. As a result, if you're sitting at your desk all day and you're constantly up on your toes, your calf is in a constant state of contraction. This is problematic on a number of fronts. Firstly, it's over-recruiting it, so it's burning through energy all the time to maintain this position. And this is detrimental in terms of the calf health. The other problem in terms of this behavior is that you're actually holding your calf into a shortened position. So you can imagine if you sit at your desk all day and you're up on your toes or your foot's tucked underneath you, your calf, instead of being so long, is now this long. And this is fine when you sit at your desk and you don't really notice that it's a problem when you sit at your desk. But if you hold a muscle in a shortened position for a long period of time, the muscle will become shorter. And this is fine when you sit and watch Netflix on a Saturday afternoon. However, if you want to go for a run, what you need is when you stride out, you need that calf muscle to lengthen and with every stride. However, if you've held your calf in a short position for a 40-hour work week, instead of that muscle having that ability to lengthen and stretch, what happens is it holds tight and then it strains through that Achilles insertional area. If you do struggle with calf complaints, I would really encourage you to check what you are doing with your legs. The good position for your lower leg to be in whilst you're sitting at your desk every single day is having your hips, your knees and your ankles all in the same alignment and having the weight of your leg punching straight down through your heel. An ergonomic consideration in terms of calf or Achilles issues is when we sit with our chair too high. Our chair height is governed by our elbows clearing the height of our desk. And as a result, if you find that you can't sit with your feet comfortably on the ground, you'll need a footrest. A postural consideration in terms of calf and Achilles problems is when we sit up on our toes such as this. It's really important that when you sit, that the weight of your legs punches out straight through your heels. Your toes are not load absorbing joints, and in this position, the calf is in a shortened position. Dropping into your ankles like this is also an irritant for your calf and your Achilles. Again, your heel is off the ground, shortening that calf. And look at the load that it puts through your ankle, and all of your weight is going through those outer toes. Having your foot tucked under the chair like this is another problematic posture for calf and Achilles issues. Again, the calf is being held in a shortened position. A behavioural consideration for calf and Achilles problems is when we pivot around our feet like this when we're sitting at our office chairs. This behaviour creeps in when we're often getting in and out of our desk, in that we sit in the chair and we swing around to face our monitors, but our legs don't quite come around with us. What this introduces is this torsional rotational strain through our lower limb, which can put huge amounts of tension through our lower leg and our calf muscles. It's really important that when you sit at your desk that you make sure that your legs come all the way around with you and that your legs are like train tracks in that they're completely parallel left to right and that your legs, your pelvis and your torso are all operating in the same plane. As you can see, how you sit at your desk over the course of a work week is really important in maintaining really good musculoskeletal health. Fundamentally, in your body, every joint, ligament, muscle, tendon, bone, it's all got a really specific role, and if you use it how it's designed to be used, generally it'll look after you. What we're hoping is there was something in this video that jumped out at you, whether it was a behavioural quirk, whether it was a poor posture, whether it was an ergonomic issue. What we're hoping is one of those things jumped out at you, and if that aligns to your body complaint, there's every chance by addressing this and fixing this, your body complaint will settle down. If that wasn't the case and you're still a little bit unsure, what I would suggest is to continually just check yourself over the course of the day. What is my head doing? Where is my elbow? What are my feet doing? If you can continually check in with your body over the course of the day, you'll actually realize that you have a lot of consistency in terms of your postures and behaviors. And if you can identify those quirks and change them, generally you'll find that your body is in a much better position. If you would like a little bit of one-on-one attention, what I would suggest is booking for a clinical assessment with one of our staff. That way we can go through all fractions of your life to try and ascertain the cause of your complaint. Sometimes it's a little bit complicated and sometimes it's not easy and straightforward. And this is where a formal clinical assessment with one of our staff is probably the best idea for you. At the end of the day, how you sit at your desk affects your body both inside of the office, but actually more importantly, what it does outside of the office. At ERGO Collective, we're your partners in office health.